Hello, this is Rika, an electric workshop study guide. Today's learning topic is about set coil, reset coil, and inversion in PLC ladder. Like the self-maintenance circuit we know well, the set coil keeps the relevant coil part selected, and the reset coil is self-maintaining, or the state of the coil designated in the set coil is released. Finally, inversion can be understood as a contact, which returns a result value in the form of negation or not on the input side. Let's check it using the screen composition through a simple example. On the right side of the screen is the PLC I/O section. There are 6 on the input side and 5 on the output side. There are 3 selector switches on the input, 3 buttons on the bottom, and a lamp on the output side. Now, looking at the wiring configuration, let's look at the PLC ladder using set, reset, and inversion parts. A simple example of set, reset, and invert. At the top is the push button PBB, which is a positive contact that sends a signal once it is pressed. There is an internal relay M0 on the coil side, and the coil state is reset. That is, when the user presses the push button PBB, it can be seen that M0 is reset once. Below that, the push button PBA is also a positive contact, and if it is pressed at this time, it will be in self-holding state by the M0 relay. If you think about the reset part, it will be the part where the user first presses the push button PBA to enter the M0 relay self-holding state, and then presses PBB to cancel the self-holding state. Below that is the push button PBC, which is a negative contact that transmits an action signal when pressed and released. At this time, the state of internal relay M1 on the coil side is set coil. So when it is pressed and released, M1 becomes self-holding state. You can see that M1 is reset by the selector SSB positive contact below it. Up to this point, the ladder configuration is the part that manipulates the set and reset status of internal relays M0 and M1, and below that look at the lamps that operate according to the M0 and M1 status. The PLA lighting condition turns on when the internal relay M0 status is on. Similarly, the PLB lighting condition is also turned on when the internal relay M1 state is on. And the PLC lighting condition is the M0 relay a contact, but when the internal relay M0 turns off through the inversion of the asterisk and asterisk behind, the signal is transmitted. However, depending on the status of the SSC a contact of the selector switch at the back of the inverted symbol, the PLC lamp lights up differently. In other words, in order to turn on the PLC, internal relay M0 must be off and the selector switch SSC must be on. Let's look at the PLD lighting conditions. Like PLC, PLD turns on when M1 relay is off. Lastly, as for the PLE lighting condition, the 2 internal relays M0 and M1 are B contacts, and inverted, the selector switch SSA is the input. In this case, since M0 and M1 are in the B contact state, if there is at least one M0 or M1 input and SSA is on, the signal is transmitted when inverted. Now, let's check whether it works on the emulator and whether it works on the Rika sequence simulation. Through today's learning, we learned about set coil, reset coil, and state reversal of input contact.
Input on. Wiring breaker. Press the button. PDA. Release the button. PDA. Press the button. PBB. Release the button. PBB. Press the button. PBC. Release the button. PBC. Input on. SSB. Input off. SSB. Input on. SSA. Input on. SSC. Press the button. PDA. Release the button. PDA. Press the button. PBB. Release the button. PBB. Press the button. PBC. Release the button. PBC. Input on. SSB. Input off. SSB. Input off. SSA. Input off. SSC. Press the button. PDA. Release the button. PDA. Press the button. PBB. Release the button. PBB. Press the button. PBC. Release the button. PBC. Input on. SSB. Input off. SSB. Input on. SSA. Input on. SSC. Press the button. PDA. Release the button. PDA. Press the button. PBB. Release the button. PBB. Press the button. PBC. Release the button. PBC. Input on. SSB. Input off. SSB. Input off. SSA. Input off. SSC. Input off. Wiring breaker.
Thank you for watching. Check out the subscription and the like button. We will make more and more learning videos. Any other questions would be appreciated if you leave them in the comments below the video. We wish you a nice day.